I just want to begin with God bless you, and I pray that the day's going well, and if it's not, that God's blessings be over you throughout the rest of the day, and that it's a great day for you. Today, I want to just think with you about, just reflect a little bit about our tendency sometimes is to wait to live. And I just want to encourage us not to wait to live. And when I say live, I'm talking about breathing and carrying on about eating and getting a little exercise and sun and all that. But I'm really talking about living it up in the abundant life that Jesus has given us the opportunity to live, the privilege to live, and the grace to live out in our lives. To go for it and not wait for that. There's a story in the Bible, and it's one that's at least a bit of it's familiar to us, and it's the story of the people of Israel when they are in exile. And there's a man, a prophet, a supposed prophet, who comes to them and listen, like so many voices that are speaking to us today, there are folks that are stepping up and saying they've got these days all figured out, and and I mean no harm by this comment, just a word of discernment. People who come forward and say they've got this all figured out, they've heard from God and they know exactly what, the timeline of when we're going to come out of this and why all this happened, and God has said this and God has said that. And I don't want to get crazy, and I really don't want to be overly critical, but just a word of caution that sometimes the ability to say I don't know is better than to come across as though we absolutely know. Why did all this happen? COVID-19 and death and suffering and all the things that have happened, businesses and uh, you know the mental strain on people. Why did all this happen? Uh, and we want to come up with answers. We want to sort of speak for God. When I'm just going to be real honest that for me, I don't know. Uh, Things happen, life happens, and is God in it? Yes, but exactly how to describe exactly what He's doing, uh, and that's a temptation, and we have a lot of people stepping up and wanting to be that voice as though um, that's what we need. I want to say that what we need trust in God more than we need, this clear voice from some person who's saying, trust me that I know exactly what God is up to. Uh, in my life, in my experience, and my reading of Scripture, my take is, um, and it's just my take, but that so often um, we work in the shadows, we work in the night, where God is our illumination, and it's trust in God that really gets us through. But anyway, in this story in um, Jeremiah chapter 28, there's this guy who steps forward. It's Hananiah. He's a prophet or supposed prophet, and he says, God has told me that in 2 years this is all going to be over. We're not going to be in exile any longer, and God is going to return us to Judea and Jerusalem, and and get everything back to where it was, and we will be this great people and all that. And God tells Jeremiah, who most of us know Jeremiah's name, um, God says to Jeremiah, who is God's true prophet, He says, Jeremiah, I didn't say that to that guy. He just stepped forward and said what he thought people wanted to hear. And so Jeremiah confronts him and he says, the Lord just told me you did not hear from God, and God is not going to, in 2 years, get us out of this exile situation we're in and return us to home, return us to the old ways. Okay, and so within that year, Hananiah dies, and just as Jeremiah said he would. And so, but what Jeremiah does is he turns to the people after he proves that this prophecy is not true. He turns to the people and says, "Listen, we're going to be here for a long time. God said that we are going to be here for a long time, and He said that before, and He's still saying it. He's going to keep His word. Are we've been sown into the world to live as the people of God in places that we just don't understand and we're not familiar with, but go and build homes, plant crops, marry, and let's be the people of God where we are, and let's live now. Let's not wait until it gets better, or the doctor gives us um, a pass and says we're okay to feel better and go live life, or our enemies suddenly like us, or whatever it is that we feel like we need. Someone gives us permission to live. God has given us permission to live fully, and we wait around till if this gets better and that gets better. I don't know when all this is going to change drastically, and I don't know anyone who does. There's still a lot of questions about this, but we can live to the full right where we are by faith in God and trusting Him that even in these kinds of circumstances that are still quite odd, right? And quite stressing, and all of that. But we can live by faith and trust in God that He's given us permission, whatever the circumstances are, to live now, right now, to live to the full, to live glorifying, and that means expressing who God is the best we can through our way of life, through our person, through our attitude, our words, glorifying God, pointing the world around us, the little world around us, or the wider world, to the God who He's got this. As often we say to people, you got this. Well, the truth is, God's got this, and we can live it up in faith and in God's grace right now. And I hope you'll be encouraged today to do just that. And God bless you, and I will see you soon.